Welcome. We're going to take a look at a few more controls today from Chapter 2, and we're going to do that with this little bicycle shop program where maybe it's an online order form where we're going to order a bicycle, choose a color, then choose some options, and we're going to take a look at some of the controls that can help us do that. So here we go. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and scroll down in my toolbox until I get to containers, and I'm going to choose a group box. And a lot of times group boxes are just cosmetic, but they do have a function besides that. But you'll see what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to throw a group box on here. And my good habit is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to immediately change the name of the group box. So we'll take a look at that. Here's my name in my property window. I'm going to, of course, keep group box there, but this is where we're going to choose the bicycle model. So I'm just going to go model group box. And that's the name of it. When I enter off of that, you notice it still says group box 1 here. That's not the name of the model. Let's try that again. Uh, Here is the text of it, and I'm going to change this to model number. And click off of that, and there's my group box. And in there, we can put anything in there. We can put labels. We can put we can put buttons in there. But oftentimes, what we're going to put in there are going to be check boxes or radio buttons. And I'm going to put radio buttons in here. So this will be our model numbers, and I'm going to put a radio button, I guess maybe right in here. I'm going to change its text, and this is going to be model AX7. And I'm going to change this thing's name as I always do. So we're going to find its name. Radio button 1 is going to become AX. I don't know if it's going to like the hyphen here, but let's see. AX7 radio button. Yeah, did not like that. So I'll just take the hyphen out. Radio button. I thought that might be the case. AX7. Okay, so we've got that guy in there, and we'll just add a couple more. So another radio button. We'll change this one, the name of it, to AX9. I guess that's an upgraded upgraded bicycle. And let's change its name, or its text, excuse me. Here's its text. We're going to change to AX9 radio button, and its name is AX9. I guess I'll go back up. I can put the hyphen here. Okay. And take radio button off of that. All right, and let's add one more. And you notice on the group box, I can just resize that. In fact, I'm going to make it thinner. No reason it being that wide. And I'm going to add one more radio button. And it tries to space them out for you. And I'm going to give this one text, AX12. And I'm going to change its name to AX12. Okay, now I want to show you something with radio buttons here. I'm going to throw just a couple more on here that are not on the group box. And I'm going to put one more group box out here just for a moment, just to kind of show you how these things work. I'm going to put one more group box here, and I'm going to put a couple of radio boxes in there, and a couple radio buttons. And when we run this guy, you'll notice the AX7 is chosen. It's always going to like to select a radio button on the form. And when I select these, it deselects the others. So we can only choose one model at a time. Now, notice here, these three work together without deselecting prior selection. Didn't deselect my AX12. And in this group box, these work together too. So that's what the group boxes are doing for us with radio buttons here. If all 8 of these radio buttons were on the form or in the same group box, I could only have one selected. But because these three right in here, radio button 1, 2, and 3 are form level. They work as a unit. Group box 1, those work as a unit, and model number, those work as a unit. So that's kind of what the group boxes do for us. It's not just for cosmetic purposes, but a lot of times we just use them for cosmetic purposes. Okay, let's go ahead and take these off. Oop, not all of that. Don't want to get rid of what I worked for. We'll take those guys off, just delete those. Maybe size this up a little bit. And then the next thing I'm going to do is add another group box, because now we're going to choose the color of our bicycle. And because I can only choose one color, just like I can only choose one model, again, I want to use radio buttons for that. So group box, let's go ahead and throw that guy on here. It tries to line things up for us. See how it gives us my line where the group box ends? And I'm going to put some radio buttons on that. So here we go. And what color should we look at here? I'm just going to call this one our red. I'm going to call this one red. And then I need to rename this. So it's going to be the red radio button. I'll put on another radio button. And this one is going to be named blue radio button. And text property will just be set to blue. And let's go one more radio button here. Let's go with text black. And of course, black radio button. Such a good habit to get into, just to name them right away before you ever do any coding. It's certainly worth, when you're creating a new project, it's worth sketching out the form, how you want it to appear, so you can just create the whole form before you ever look at going into code. And then let's take this group box. I'm going to change its text to color. And then, of course, then its name would make sense to be color text box. Or color group box, excuse me. Okay. And one nice thing here is that if I was to move this guy, it actually moves the whole set. So for once again, cosmetic reasons, that's pretty nice. Nice convenience. Okay, one more. Let's go one more group box. Put this guy up here. Again, I love that little blue line guider. And I'm gonna have three options, so I'll size it the same. And let's go. Now I'm going to use text boxes, or excuse me, check boxes. And check boxes work different than radio buttons in that you can select more than one at a time. So they kind of seem like they're the same thing, but certainly each has its own separate purpose. So I'm going to name this guy. These are options we can order with it. Fenders. So fender checkbox. And let's just change the text of it to fenders. And let's add another. And let's call this one kickstand. I was shocked when I bought my last bicycle that all bicycles didn't come with kickstands. Kickstand. And change that to kickstand text box. Get rid of that one. And one more checkbox. Wrong. Here we go. And let's go padded seat. So name, I could just call it seat, but I'm going to go ahead and call it padded seat checkbox. And give it text. And in text, again, I can put the space in there. Padded seat. Okay. Now, what I want to do is down below here in this bottom space, I'm going to actually put down the bicycle that was ordered. So we're going to need maybe a label here. And I'm going to put the label in. And that label, I'm going to call it my model label. And oops, that's the text. So I'm just going to call it model number. And then I'm just going to call it model label. Next to that, I'm going to put another label, and this is, you'll see what I'm going to do with this shortly, but basically this is where once they order a model, that model name is going to go into here. So I think I will name this guy Selected Model Label. And I'm going to take its text and I'm going to delete it. And I do kind of like when it's an entry that the user makes. I like this. You don't have to do this, but border style, I'm going to go fix 3D. Okay, you'll see what that does for us. All right, and underneath that, I'm going to put the colors. Actually, yeah, I think I will put that underneath. I'm going to put the color. So let's put another label on here. I like that that lines up. And I'm going to go, text is going to be color. And my name is going to be selected color label. Selected color label. And then one more to know what options. I got to come back and change that group box. So one more here, label for options. That should give me plenty of room. And we'll call this, we'll name this options label because I can choose more than one of those, and we'll give it a text options. And I need 3 places for that. I need 3 labels for that. So let's go with vendors label. And in here I'm going to put fenders. And kind of forgot to do this on the other one. I'm going to go border style 3D single. And while I'm thinking of it, did I not put one in here yet? Didn't put one there yet. Okay, so let's go backtrack just a second here. Let me put a label over here next to color. And for that one, that's going to be my selected color. Did I not put a selected color on there already? I could have sworn I did that. I did. So I don't need this. Sorry, early in the morning. Should have put it right in here somewhere. All right, let's find it. Selected color label. Oh, this one should just be called color label, not selected color label. That's what got me confused. Just color label, and in here I'm going to put a selected color label. Here we go. Okay, so this one's going to be called selected color label, and its text is going to be blank for now, and its border style is going to be fixed 3D. Okay, so I need 2 more over here. Another label, maybe there, and this one will be for if we ordered a kickstand. So its text will say kickstand, and its name will be kickstand label, and its border will also be fixed 3D. One more. And now one thing you can do, you can actually, since I want one more of these and I want some of the things the same, properties the same, I could just Control C this kickstand, Control V, and I get another one. And this is going to be for my padded seat. So I just do have to go back in and change a couple things here. Padded seat and padded seat label. Okay, now I could put all these things in group boxes too to organize, but I think I'm just going to leave it right there. This group box, I do have to come back in, give it some appropriate name. That would be our options group box, and change its text, of course, to options. Okay, so we are in design mode right now, and I like to plan things out from a form perspective. So what I want to have happen here is when I select AX7, AX9, AX12, might as well put a hyphen there, make it look good, AX12, I want this text box right here, my selected model, to include the name of that. So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to AX7, and I'm going to double click it, and now I'm in code. So again, what is it I want to change? I want to change selected model label when I click this. So I'm going to start typing that. Selected model label dot text property. I want to change that to be AX7. Now let's just take a look at this in run mode for right now. Interesting. AX7 starts, its default is set. Since it was the first radio button I put on there, it's selected, and this already says AX7 for me. Now, clicking this isn't going to change that yet. I haven't told it to. So let's go back in there and get these others. So we'll go back here, double click AX9, and basically I just want this again. So Control C, Control V, except I want that to be 9. And go back to here, our AX12 model, Control V, AX12, and let's see what happens now. I do think it's worth every time until you get really, really comfortable. Every time you add something, you just ought to run it and check and see is it doing what you want it to do. So there we go. Color is going to be the exact same thing. So we'll stop this guy, go back to form. Now what I want to change is selected color label to red. So selected color label dot text equals red. And blue. Steal from myself. Control C, Control V. Change this guy to blue. And right here, change red to black. This is my black radio button. And let's take a look at that. So I run this program. Of course, these guys are working. My selected color. All good. All right, this is going to be a little trickier now. And you notice when the program runs, I could actually start these checked true. I could set those checked, and then these would be showing. But here's how I'm going to handle this, and this is really the biggest thing I'm doing in this section right now, wanting you to get across to you. I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to take these. I think I can set all three at the same time. I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to set their visibility. This is whether they're visible or not. That's used quite a bit in programming. I'm going to turn those to false. And we can still see them, but in run mode, now they're not showing. And what I'm going to want is for when I click these, for the corresponding option to show. So how are we going to do that? All right, these these check boxes have a checked property. Let's take a look. Its checked property is false right now, just like these radio buttons have a checked property. In fact, let's go ahead and turn this one to true right here, and let's see what happens when we start the program. So I've pre-selected red as a color, which might be the way we'd want it to be. I could do the same thing with these. I could have all the options pre-selected, but probably the user wants to select it. They have to select a color. They don't have to select. They have to select a model. They don't have to select options. So we'll start with these invisible, and now we're going to set them to visible. So again, these guys have a checked property, true or false. These guys have a visible property. Where's our visible property? Oh, set to true or false. What I'd like is those to correspond. So when Kickstand is checked true, I'd like this guy's visibility property to be true. When Kickstand.checked is false, I'd like this thing's visible property to be false. So I just want this guy's visible property to be the same as Kickstand's checked property. Then I want to show a really common error people make on this. So anyway, fenders, when I when I select my fenders checkbox, I want, whoop, that's bad. I want my fenders label. Let's get that named correctly. I want my fenders label visibility property to be true. So let's double check in here, and when I click fender checkbox, I want my fenders label dot visible property. Now, if I just say true here, watch what happens. If I say it's true, when I run this guy and I select this, all looks good. But I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't mean to check fenders. I don't want those. There's the problem. All I'm doing is turning it on. So what I need to do is turn it to my fender checkboxes checked property. Remember, I want my fenders label to be invisible when my fenders checkbox is not checked. That's what this is saying. I want it to be visible when it is checked. This is true when this is true. So now let's run and take a look at that. Nice. Okay, we should be good to go. Let me show you one more common mistake. Some people might try to do this with this code. And in algebra, 7 equals x, x equals 7, same thing. But here, I can't even turn this on. And what's happening here is when I click this box, it is trying to set that box's check property to what the fender's label's visible property is. And the fender's label visible is false. It matters what you put on the left side of the equal sign. I want to have, hang on just a second here. I want to change this. This is what's going to get changed. That whatever's on the left of the equal sign is going to get changed to the status of that. Okay, so we should be good to go here. Kickstand is going to change kickstand label. So kickstand label dot visible equals kickstand checkbox dot checked. They're in sync with the when one's true, the other's true. When one's false, the other's false. And padded seat. So padded seat label dot visible equals padded seat checkboxes dot checked. And let's run that guy and let's take a look. Here's my order. All of those are changing. I always have to have one of those selected, but I could just check kickstand, padded seat, could just check fender, or could select all three or none. So a few things there I really wanted to show you. I wanted to show you the group boxes. They do order well. I think I probably ultimately would put group boxes around this and group boxes around what options are selected here. So I wanted to show you that, but definitely there's a difference between radio buttons and check boxes. And there's clearly a call for a difference between those. And then I wanted to show you how we sync controls with one another. A visible property that's false is now a padded seat checkbox that was not selected. Padded seat label visible's true when padded seat checkbox is turned on. That would be a really common programming. It's definitely a part of your assignments in Chapter 2. Hope this is helpful. Again, things that we should always include with our programs are things like our names, the date we did this on. Let's go 8/22/2014. Make that a label and a name. Let's just go Chapter 2 example probably one other thing I should maybe do on here. Oh, I already did. This does say Chapter 2 up here. It's nice to have this not say Form 1. So I hope that is helpful to you, and good luck.